This natural phenomenon cannot be seen in the dark, for it's caused by light and rain to form a colorful arc. Okay, colorful arc is a rainbow. Oh, we're gonna talk about rainbow gems?
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Oh, I love that. Look at that. It's so pretty. Okay, this is fluorite for sure. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at the banding on that and the colors. That is so pretty. Look at all different colors. This is au naturel. That banding is spectacular. You go from like the pinks, orange, yellow, green, blue. You got a little purple up here. This is fantastic. Alrighty, so we have a piece right here of Mexican banded fluorite. This is a piece that is mined in Mexico. You literally can see bands of color. So right here, it looks like it's solid pink, but really it's like kind of like colorless and then pink and purple. And you see the same thing with like the yellow right here. So it's not like solid chunks of like yellow, green, blue. What you're kind of looking at though is the way that the stone was made. The basic chemical composition of fluorite is CaF2. So that's 1 molecule of calcium and 2 molecules of fluorine. You have like that basic chemical composition, and then you get these little nutrients. And that nutrient adds different color as the stone basically grows. And fluorite is a stone that is known as like a gemstone of the rainbow. But what's really special about fluorite is the Mohs. So it's a 4 on the hardness scale, which as you all know, isn't that high. So fluorite's very delicate. I probably wouldn't put it in a ring. I'd be very careful if you were wearing it in a ring. So just something to think about. You know, they need a little tender loving care, like a lot of our jewelry, and that is definitely something to be said for fluorite. Something else that you need to be careful with in regards to fluorite is its perfect cleavage in 4 directions. So that means if you have a stone in 4 directions, if it's hit just perfectly, the stone will literally just like cleave in half. So a gem cutter is gonna have to be super careful when they're cutting fluorite rough. Those that are mining it have to be careful because you don't wanna hit it just right and the stone cleaves in half. For a jeweler, when you're setting the piece, you're gonna have to think about, oh, like what type of jewelry is this? Fluorite is definitely a stone that can be admired for its color and the banding, but it's also something that needs to be treated with tender loving care. So this piece of fluorite is absolutely beautiful, but we've actually had fluorite on the channel before. If you want to learn more about fluorite and dive into more of the science and the lore, click here to see some of the past episodes that we've done. Oh, I think I know what this is. Okay, that's Labradorite. Other stones are gonna have a rainbow because of a phenomenon. And we've talked about phenomenon. It is asterism, chatoyancy, color change. But today we're gonna talk about Labradorite. And this is labradorescence. So you're gonna get these really broad flashes of color. I've typically seen them in like blues, greens, yellows, a little orange. And labradorescence is basically when you have like these layers in the structure and you have light that kind of passes through them. And when that light passes through it, you get these flashes of color. It is about a 6.5 on the Mohs. It does have a few cleavage directions, so you'll have to be a little bit careful when you're wearing these, but I would say Labradorite is probably a better choice for jewelry than fluorite. You can see through these a little bit. There's a little light passing through the stone, but what's really going on here is the light is passing through the stone. It's interfering with those different layers and you get these huge flashes of color. Labradorite, like fluorite, is truly a global stone. You can find it in Canada, India, China. I think you can find some of it in Brazil. Labradorite is part of the feldspar group, which is a huge group in gemology, and so is moonstone. All right, we have rainbow moonstone right here, which is a term used to describe colorless labradorite that has those flashes of color that we talked about earlier. So these flashes of color are caused by, just like labradorite, the interference of light through layers in the stone. Rainbow moonstone, I would say, has more of a rainbow than labradorite. You're gonna see those blues and greens and yellows, but you're also gonna see flashes of like pinks and oranges. I always love lore in gemology. There are actually some Eskimo tribes that believed that labradorite allegedly fell from the sky and came from the northern lights, Aurora Borealis. And I don't know about you guys, I've seen the northern lights and they are pretty spectacular, and they, you know, that looks like a rainbow in the sky. And I can see where someone would believe, you know, this fell from the northern lights. It looks like the same colors, and with the dark background, it looks very similar. Oh, this is rainbow Cal Silica. All right, rainbow Cal Silica is very fitting for this episode. You can see all the different colors and banding. So rainbow Cal Silica is another example, like fluorite, of there being color from an outside source, and this isn't like a phenomenon. It's actually plastic. And a lot of people have tried to pass it off as a natural stone. It does have, I think, a little bit of limestone in it. But basically what is happening with this, it's pieces of plastic and a coloring agent that is like smushed together. You're gonna see a lot of it used in beading. You're gonna see a lot of it cut in cabochons. Rainbow Cal Silica kind of really only appeared in the early 2000s. And a lot of people, as I mentioned, tried to pass it off as like a natural stone. The basics of rainbow Cal Silica are that it's a calcium carbonate. So there's calcium, carbon, and oxygen. It has plastic, resin, and silica in it. So basically you take all of those things and you smush them together and you have the coloring and the banding. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Of course. You can't do a rainbow gem episode without an opal. Opal is kind of the OG of rainbow stones. Opal is another example of a rainbow stone that is colored by a phenomenon. What you are seeing right here, it is that kind of color dancing across the stone, the reds, the oranges, the yellows, the greens, and that's basically caused by silica spheres that are packed tightly, and as light hits them, you get different colors based on the size and how tightly packed the spheres are. We've covered this pretty extensively in other episodes, so if you want to check those out, you can click right here. Opal kind of has two ways that it is a rainbow. At first we have play of color, but actually not every opal has play of color. Some opals are common opal, which is the lack of the phenomenon, but you can also find opal with a body color of pinks, oranges, greens, blues. You know, this right here has that white body color. This is an example of black opal on my finger. This is Fortnite. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Fortnite, like rainbow Cal Silica, is man-made. It is man-made in a different way though. So Fortnite is also called motor agate. And basically what Fortnite is, a long time ago, there was a different way of painting cars. So when that car enamel dripped off, it was like the excess and, you know, kind of like got in the drains and everything, it would congeal and it would, you know, look like this. It's like these bands of color and people thought it was really pretty. And then they realized like, oh, this is pretty. Maybe we can use it in jewelry. So Fortnite is basically compiled car enamel in different colors and then it's cut. The really cool thing about Fortnite is that cars are no longer like painted like this. There is actually very limited supply of Fortnite like other gemstones and the production is limited, so you really can't find it anymore, which I think is cool because we've talked about other gemstones like tanzanite, not knowing when or if there's gonna be another production. Well, Fortnite is man-made and we don't know when there's gonna be another production. Oh, all right, so we have Ammolite right here, not to be confused with ammonite, which I do often. We actually had ammonite on here before. It was one of my first episodes that I shot on the channel like 3.5 years ago. I was just a little baby. Ammolite is the gemstone and it's cut from that shell and you're gonna get these broad flashes of colors. You're gonna see purples and greens and yellows and oranges and they're super bright. Anyways, that color is caused like Labradorite or similar to Labradorite when you have light interacting with these very thin layers in the gemstone. So a lot of times you're gonna see Ammolite as a doublet or a triplet because it is so thin and delicate, it needs some help. For centuries, the shell has been used in jewelry, but you really didn't get this stone, Ammolite, in a gem until like the 1960s. So it's a relatively new addition to the gem and jewelry world. All right, guys, I want you to take a closer look at Fortnite because this is literally car paint. And I think it is so cool. I think take a closer look at the pattern. I mean, it's pretty easy to see why it's called motor agate. hope you enjoyed learning about Fortnite and rainbow Cal Silica. But yeah, we've had fun. I think my favorite piece on this episode today is probably the Fluorite, even though I think the Fortnite is the most interesting. But we have got to go because thinking about rainbows makes me crave some Skittles. So I'm gonna go find some Skittles now. So thank you for watching, and leave me like a rainbow emoji in the comments, please. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. We wanna see you next week. Thanks, guys.